Hey everybody, it's Jon Meyers from Right Better Together. Look everybody, it's Emily Brooks.
Hello, Jon Meyers.
We're interrupting the internet, the entire internet, to tell them about something big.
So we're going to have a new webinar in January of 2025 on January 16th, which is going to be the third Thursday at 5 Pacific, 7 Central, and 8 Eastern. And we're going to be talking about perfectionism.
We've spoken to so many people in our audience and in person and online that struggle with having to have it perfect before they show it to anybody, before they send it off to query, before they do anything with it. And poppycock nonsense is what I say. What do you say, Emily?
Yeah, and it shouldn't stop us from feeling like we are writers too. We can say I'm a writer even if you don't feel like your work is perfect.
And so we're going to work through that on the webinar with your help, because you're going to be there just like on our last one we did. Your shining bright faces will be there asking us questions, and we'll work through the discussion.
Yes. So if you want to join us, you can go to writebettertogether.com/contact and fill out the form and just put January webinar, and we will add you to the list. We will send you a link on the day of. We'll also be live streaming on Facebook and YouTube.
Great. I'll be there.
Me too. We hope to see you all there.
Welcome everybody to Right Better Together. I'm Jon Meyers. Hey, look everybody, it's Emily Brooks.
Hello, Jon Meyers.
Hey, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the importance of reflection and gratitude as we reflect on the past year.
You know what? Today it's New Year's Eve. Happy New Year. This is our New Year's Eve. I forgot. This is our New Year's Eve extravaganza. Is this an extravaganza? Are we having an extravaganza?
I think you could say so.
Oh, what is it? I better look that word up and see what it means. Continue.
Yeah.
What else is going on?
We are going to have lots of gratitude to share in this episode. So every once in a while, we will stop and just thank people who have been guests on the show, who have been friends of the show, who have helped us, who have supported us in any way. And so, because we really couldn't have done it without you, and that's really what this episode is about. We're going to have listener responses. We're going to have our big idea where we talk about reflection and gratitude. And then I'm going to teach Jon Meyers something.
Oh my goodness.
Hashtag HEYJONMEYERS. And then we're going to have the final act.
Wow. And it's not going to be a silly game. It's going to be a game that you cannot lose. Like, there's no way you can lose. So there'll be many prizes because you just have to do something. Like, you can do something. Anybody can do something. All right, yeah. Cool. That sounds like a lot.
It is a lot, but we're gonna get through it.
Extravaganza. Extravaganza. I don't know. All right.
But first.
Yes.
Well, I want to share how I got out of my bubble first, if that's okay.
It's fine with me.
All right. So is it okay if I go all the way back when we were preparing for Christmas?
No. Yes, of course it is.
So my friend Spencer, who has only been named on this podcast because he's called me a few times once during the podcast.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, memories.
Yeah. We should like zoom in on us as we reflect. So he is a music teacher at a high school / middle school. It's a private school over in Franklin, and he invited us, John, my husband John, and I. He got us comp tickets to see his school's performance of White Christmas.
Wow.
And it was so wonderful. First of all, like I watched White Christmas at least every other Christmas. Like there are some movies where I don't watch them every Christmas because I'll get sick of them, but I do watch that one a lot.
Do you know why the White Christmas? Do you know why that's a thing? Do you?
Yeah,
Have you watched this show before?
because in a previous episode I shared that. But what was interesting is they did talk about in the beginning of the show why the song, because I was just talking about in general why we dream of a white Christmas, but they were talking about how, because the story is centered around soldiers, and so Bing Crosby had to sing in front of soldiers in real life, and he had to sing White Christmas and was just like on the verge of tears, barely could get through it, because when you're overseas, you are dreaming of a white Christmas. You're dreaming of going back north or wherever to where you live, and you maybe not even north. I think he was in Germany, so whatever. But you're dreaming of going home, and that's part of what that song represents. So that was really a beautiful thing to think about. But one of the things story-wise that was interesting, first of all, these kids were so talented. We kept forgetting they were teenagers. And then it was
problem.
live.
That's cool. I said that's a good problem. That's cool.
Oh, it was so good. But I'm always interested in how stories are adapted to the stage, because White Christmas already kind of feels like a stage play, like a stage musical. But one of the interesting things to me that's like older musicals like that from that time period, they would just include a lot of songs and dances that didn't really move the plot forward, because these were performers, and they part of the show was just you wanted to see them perform. So in this adaptation, they actually made the songs more relevant to the story, so that each scene moved the story along and like developed the characters. There were a few like numbers that were like, this is just a fun part of the show, because White Christmas, if you've seen it, they are putting on a show and you want to see parts of that show just to see them dance and stuff. But for the most part, they would change either where a song happened or when it happened or how it happened, where that song now like moves the story forward. So I thought that was a really clever and interesting to do for a modern audience, because we want to see the story moving forward. So there was a lot more character development.
So I like that as a storyteller yourself that you can pick up on those things. I wanted to add to that, even people that aren't just people that are generic civilians, they can tell that like there's something extra, that this is a special, I don't want to call it a twist, but a special rendition. I don't know. I'm not using the right words today, but it was a special event because it's different than what their preconceived idea was.
Yeah. They also made some characters more relevant, because, in those movies, it was like you had 4 stars or whatever, and they were the center. But when you have a stage play, and especially for a high school like this, you want everybody to kind of shine a little bit. And so they had some typically kind of side characters who were able to have these big numbers and stuff.
So everyone got their moment.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it was great. We had a lot of fun and very impressed by these kids. So how did you get out of your bubble?
What makes you think I got out of my bubble?
Well, I know you traveled a bit.
I went to Chicago. I went to the greater Chicagoland area,
where people do have white Christmases.
Where people do have white Christmases. And I approached an author who was at a book signing, who was signing a book, named Stephanie L. Jones. And I said, I have a podcast, and my podcast partner, Emily Brooks, sent me all the way here from Nashville to come all the way to Chicago from Nashville to come invite you on the podcast. And she looked at me like I was a crazy person. And then my friend Brenda walked by, and she didn't really look at me like a crazy person. My friend Brenda walked by, and I said, Brenda, come over here and tell Stephanie L. Jones, who I've never met before, that I'm not a crazy person. And she said, I don't know that I can tell her that. And I'm like, okay, keep walking. And then oh, I forgot to tell you, I sold Brenda a book, by the way. So
oh,
so there's that. And so Stephanie L. Jones and I got to talking, and I did know ahead of time that she was going to be there, and so I did not fabricate, and I even got permission from Emily, listeners, viewers, that I was going to invite her onto the podcast. So I didn't really make that story up; it was kind of true, and so we've invited her onto the show. Here's a picture of me with her. I will insert it right here, right over here, and she'll be on. Well, we're recording it March 25th. I don't know when it'll actually air.
Yeah.
So soon after that. But we're recording March 25th. And this book that I held up, The Gratitude Challenge. So Stephanie L. Jones, she has 9 books. And her first book was about, she did, now I'm not going to remember the right number of days, but it was either 535 or 555 days in a row where she did a small act of kindness, like bought everyone pancakes or baked cookies. They're not all food related, but and just did a different act of kindness 555 days in a row. And then she wrote about it. It was just amazing. Then 2 things. Here's where she signed the book to me. Look, the ink ran out in the middle of the signature. So I am the only person that has ever had a book signed in 2 colors by Stephanie L. Jones, the only person on earth. And she cut. So we need to do this, Emily. I don't think we're really going to do this. She color codes the ink that she signs it into the cover of the book.
Oh, fun.
So if it has a green cover, it just has green ink. If it's blue cover, it has blue ink.
That's a fun idea.
How cool is that? And then last but not least, she diluted my brand and called me Jon instead of Jon Meyers.
Wow.
After I warned her. But anyway, it was wonderful to meet her. Can't wait to have her on the show. And you'll be hearing more about her very soon. There you go.
I love it. I'm very excited. Just so listeners know, I am like
fidgety.
I am going to be swaying and stretching and moving and standing and stuff because
you're on a pony, aren't you?
Because pregnancy has made Emily weak or stronger, but
stronger.
In pain.
I'm always fidgety. I'm not pregnant.
It's not fidgety. It's I can't get comfortable.
Oh, well. Do you need to stand up or sit down or?
I don't know. We'll see. I'll move around if I need to. So we also have listener response.
We do, and before I get to this first one, and it's from screenwriter Lucy Linger, and she knows that I'm sharing this. So I don't do New Year's resolutions. Do you do those?
I used to, but I think I know what I feel like I want to hear what you have to say.
It's not a trick. I'm not setting you up or anything.
I'll say that last year I was going to do one of those Bible in a year things.
Oh, okay.
And that didn't go very well.
So I know a guy, Carl Happeny. He and his wife have a craft business called Happeny Ever After. How cute is that? Because it's Carl Happeny. Anyway, he does that. He's done it twice now. So I don't do New Year's resolutions, but the first word that Holy Spirit puts in my brain after midnight on the New Year's Day, that's my word of the year. And
I love words of the year.
I don't. Cool. So I don't plan ahead, and if I think it might be something, like in December, like right now, when we're filming this, we have a few weeks to go. It's never that, because it's whatever the Holy Spirit wants me to. Whatever Holy Spirit wants me to have that word. And if I would have known I was recording a podcast today, I would have had the list of all the previous words, but I didn't. I have no excuse because we film at the same time every week. So this is from filmmaker Lucy Linger. Progress was indeed my word of the year for 2024. And what progress I've made. A London run of my stage play, a feature-length filming of that play in post-production, a TV series option extended, a feature film optioned, a short film in post-production, a TV series proof of concept and pre-production, as well as other writing and consulting gigs. If someone had offered me the above on January 1st, I would have bitten their head off. I am in the process of choosing my word for 2025. Well, I'd wait till that day when the Holy Spirit puts it in my head. But there is one word that keeps popping in my mind, but I really don't understand why or what it would mean to 2025. So I'm continuing to mull it over.
Ooh.
I think that's might be the word. Thanks to Jon Meyers for the idea of word of the year. It's been a game changer. So look at all that she's done in a year, and you could never predict that. So on my page, on my personal page, which I don't really ever talk about on here, I put my word of the year at within 5 minutes of after it turns midnight, but I'll put it on. And will you do one too, Emily? And I'll put it on Write Better Together page, and then you viewers, listeners, put it underneath that on January 1st. And yeah. I know, Emily, you probably won't be up at midnight, but if you are, then
well, actually, I probably will be. We stay up here.
All right, then if you are, then that's when I'll do mine, and I'll put it on our page, and then we can see what everyone's page is.
I love that.
Now, yeah, cool. The last thing I want to say about that is that was an incredible amount of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But look what we didn't even exist in January 1st when this started. We didn't exist until March for all practical reasons. And we've spoken at conferences, we've filled rooms, we wrote a book, and we've had this show. We haven't missed a week of every Tuesday. What am I forgetting? Something big. You got pregnant.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Well, there have been a lot of personal things too, and I think, and we've talked about this before with many, many times with Journey Before Destination and all of that, that progress is progress, right? So if you're writing more than you did last year, great. Like if you're writing more than you wrote last week, great. If you feel healthier and mentally and physically, great. If you feel like you have more of an organized life and a more organized house or whatever, like progress is progress. And so all of it is worth celebrating.
Yeah, 100%. Some of those things we didn't know even when we started in March that we were going to do those. Like we didn't have a book planned in March or even in April. We didn't even talk about that at that point yet. And so we do have plans for 2025, 2026, 2027. But there'll be other things that'll be like what Lucy just said. Like we have no idea. That's even more exciting than the planned one because we don't know what's going to happen. Those are the, I don't want to say they're better, but those are cool that we don't know what they are.
I didn't expect to be speaking at WriterCon I didn't expect any of it, but I'm thinking about I didn't expect to get published in WriterCon magazine, and I didn't expect to get published in the Fantasy Journal, or just those little things that aren't so little, but it's fun to see how things work out.
True. I didn't even mention. So yeah, I had 2 articles published in the last year.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't even mention that. I sold 2 mini screenplays, 2 short, and yeah, I didn't even mention those. I was all worried.
There's so much. Yeah, we could go on, but
yeah, so much. And you have a viewer response?
I do. So this is a response to our episode with Sara Wigal from @MarthaRogus. I think that's how you would say it on YouTube. She says, I heart this, and both of you at 3:51, so minute 3:51 seconds, I began to emerge from my bubble. This will surely inspire me to stay focused on the job at hand, which is painting a room in my house because I don't want paint on my keyboard. Truly grateful I found you, or you found me. I will write in a couple hours when the painting is complete today.
Hi, Martha. So Martha is the teacher who invited us to Zoom into her class, and we couldn't make the schedule work out.
Yeah.
And so next semester, get those students ready because we're going to talk about them on the YouTube.
But I love how she was painting and thinking, all right, when I'm done painting, I'm going to be writing. And I love that.
Yep, that's awesome. Cool.
Before we get to our main topic conversation, we
Yes.
have some gratitude to give out.
Speaking of gratitude, Stephanie L. Jones.
Yes, exactly. We have had so many wonderful, wonderful guests on this year that we just want to shout out again and just to thank all of them. I just can't believe how many we've had.
And everyone except for Jack Handy has said yes.
Yes.
We have not been rejected, Jack Handy.
And by the way, we have lots more on the schedule. So we have Pinar Tarhan.
Yes. That was our first guest.
First guest.
These are kind of in order, I think.
And should I say, I said it okay. It's Pinar Tarhan.
Dude, where did you come from?
That's how she said it, Pinar Tarhan. But it's Pinar Tarhan in our English.
So now that we've used this accent during the game, I will expect for you to use an accent or two.
We had Kerrie Groban.
Oh, my goodness.
Who is just fascinating. My goodness. We've had Bob Saenz on 3 times.
A wealth of information.
Next, we had Brian Baker.
Oh, yes.
And we had him on technically twice because we had him on for an afterthought.
We did. Him and Wes Anderson.
Yeah. Adrian Sanders.
Yay.
Sara Wigal, who we just mentioned.
Yay. I forgot to say after Adrian Sanders, a Patreon follower, a Patreon patron.
Oh, yes. and Adrian's actual Patreon videos are up there now too. So if you
convenient.
Yeah, if you want to join our Patreon, you can see Adrian Sanders' Patreon videos that we put up there.
So if they join, will we put a video of them on the Patreon?
No, it's because we interviewed Adrian and we recorded Patreon videos with her.
I don't know how the internet
works. Lucy V. Hay.
Oh my goodness, she made me cry.
I know. Hunter Little.
Oh, she makes me cry in real life. No, not really.
Misty Butler.
Oh, and the ducks and the geese.
And she was a guest, but also she's like our TikTok person and she makes videos for us, so she's been on a lot.
We have much gratitude for what she does for us.
Yes. Paul Guay.
Oh my gosh, he wrote The Little Rascals. He didn't reject us.
Nope. Amy McConnell.
Yay.
Diehl.
Oh my gosh, I've heard of him. Have you?
Fallon Bechtel.
Oh, and we didn't give her the Bechtel test. Oops.
Nope, we didn't. Dr. Cindy Childress.
Hi, Dr. Cindy.
Austin Francis.
Yay. Hi. Hey, Austin. Dr. Cindy sent us a thing just before, like last night, this morning. I saw it this morning, inviting us to speak at like in Wales or something. And like, you two would be great here. You should check this out. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out after the holidays.
Oh my goodness. I've never traveled overseas. Well, I've only done interviews with people overseas.
Do you have a passport?
No. Fiona Faith Ross and Sophie Gardner.
Who just this 2-3 days ago finished their second screenplay that they had written together. They talked about it on our episode, and that was their win on Into the Scripts last Monday. Well, I mean, it's been a while now that we're watching this on New Year's Eve, but yeah, they got number 2 done. Good job.
Congratulations, y'all. Charlotte Winters.
Oh, super positive.
Renee Guttridge.
Also super positive.
David Halchester.
Oh, also super positive.
And speaking of people who live far away.
Yeah, he wins. He was 6,600. No, he was not the winner. He was the winner. So when he was at 6,000 miles, but then Mai passed him up.
Yeah.
The Charlotte Winters also got engaged this year. So that was when we talk about life-changing moments.
And Adrian got married.
Oh, and Adrian got married. Oh my gosh. She did.
So many life changes. We had Sandra Taylor.
Oh, she's been married already.
Yep.
To Howard Taylor.
Yes. We had Matthew Huddleston.
Oh, I remember him. He believes in Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah. My Luli,
Yes, and she's the farthest away.
furthest away. And Judy Gowong.
Yes, and she changed our lives.
She did.
And a lot of these people did, seriously.
And if you all haven't followed her newsletter and like joined her newsletter yet, like that's changed my life too. So
Oh yeah,
she's great.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Um
So thank you all to everybody.
yeah. There was one more I was gonna say one more thing about who is before Judy?
My Lily.
Do you think she ever sleeps?
Man, I don't know.
Because that was at 1:00 in the morning her time, and she was raring to go when
Yeah,
we
she was like, I'm
interviewed
not
her.
in a hurry.
Yeah, and just from the amount of stuff that she does and the projects that she's on, that is a common denominator between all of our guests. They're in the middle of 6 or 7 things. No one is just like a one person thing.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
And we kind of are too.
Yeah, for sure.
If you do a lot, come join us. Come join our tribe. All right, cool. What a great year.
What a great year. I think one of the fruits in my life from this podcast has been talking to these other artists and creatives and learning from them and being inspired by them just over and over and over again. That has been really impactful for me.
Yeah, 100%. And I get speechless. Each one, when we're done, we're like, that was the best one ever.
I know.
But it's not fake. They really are. But then the other one the week before and the other one the week before, there's so much. We're just so blessed that we get to sit at the feet of these people and learn.
Yeah.
Other than Jack Handy.
Yeah, because everybody's been so willing.
Yep.
And we worked around some crazy schedules and had people meet us at midnight, and so we're just very grateful.
Yeah, we can take. I think we can take credit for that because we'll do it too. We've moved. Yeah. If they need us to move it, we will move it. Yeah. And but they're the same way too. Everyone's great. What a year!
What a year! I think so. One of the things when I think about gratitude and reflection,
yes,
is that they're so tightly entwined.
Yes.
This time of year especially, but I kind of wish it was more often. I think it should be more often, is we start to think back on, okay, how did this year go? What choices did I make? And what fruit came from those choices? Or what choices did I make where there was no fruit that came from those choices? Because that happens too, you know? Sometimes you try something out and it doesn't work out, and that's fine. I think we should be doing that more often. Like, how did this month go? How did this week go? How did this season go? Because the thing about New Year's resolutions for me is that it kind of feels like a lot of pressure to be like, okay, I'm making this New Year's resolution now, and then I have all year where I have to keep doing that, as opposed to how do I want to change my life this week and see how that goes. Like, I try new schedule like techniques. I try new not diets, but like, well, let's see what happens if I add more protein to my diet or something this week. I exercise a little bit more this week, as opposed to having the whole year span. But what I was trying to get to was the idea that when you do reflect, it encourages gratitude. Like, I think it actually just like bubbles up gratitude when it's like, oh man, look at all the things that happened and how much I have to be grateful for.
When you say that we should do that more often and more frequently, so many things from when we last talked to Judy Gowong have stuck with me that keep popping up every day. Like, oh yeah. but one of them was where she said that she prays for the next 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember when she said that?
Yeah.
Like then, because it says we're supposed to pray continually, but for the next 7 seconds. Well, to do that, you have to reflect not just daily. You have to reflect how'd this morning go?
Yeah.
When we get off today, we're gonna have to be like, how'd that go? Like the last hour, how did that go? I do not like to look at the past. I'm move forward, move forward, move forward. But that, even though that's praying forward 7 seconds, that it requires you to reflect.
Yeah.
When you do it that often, the higher the frequency, the more reflection is required, I think, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think too, like if you are praying ahead at all, like you're anticipating how is God going to show up, then it's important to also look back on how did God show up, right? How has God been showing up in my life? And to identify those with gratitude and not just continually be like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? And I'm like you, I think a lot about the future, and sometimes I forget, like, oh wow, I prayed about this thing and then I never stopped to be grateful or anything. It just like kind of happened and then I moved on to the next thing.
And usually, not always, but usually, I mean, that's part of when there's a miracle or a prayer answer. You're supposed to tell other people. That's
Yeah.
right. Now
Yeah.
there are a couple times where Jesus like, don't tell anybody, right? But there's a
Yeah.
very specific reason for that. And so yeah, in order to tell someone that God did this thing this past year, the last 8 months, the last 9 months, then you have to look back.
Yeah, and it makes me think of, because this was brought up in Sunday school recently, when, oh goodness, I'm going to get it wrong. Joshua?
I don't know the story yet. Yes, Joshua.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're gonna say. How do I know?
God leads them to, I don't think they're at the promised land yet, but he leads them,
Yeah, Joshua.
right? And then
Yeah.
he puts up the stone that is like a stone of gratitude, that's like, this is a sign of to remind us of what God has done, where God has brought us. And so there's a word for that, like setting up monuments, or there's another way to put it, but it's the idea of creating these kind of physical representations of God's promises. Whether it could be you're journaling about it, it could be you are vocally speaking it out loud, or you have a day, like holiday. That's what a holiday is, right? Like a day of remembrance, usually. But to actively remember what God has done.
100%. I don't know the word that you're searching
I
for.
know there's a
So
phrase for
when you do it with a flag, that's where you're planting a standard. A standard is
Yeah,
a flag,
yeah.
so that's where that comes from. But it's a rock, a cairn. We know what a cairn
We know what
is
a
because
cairn
that was from
is.
our first episode. I saw a cairn, by the way, on my trip this weekend.
Oh my goodness.
Yep,
Full circle.
yeah, but it went. I was going by it too fast. I couldn't turn around
Mm.
and take a picture of it. But yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the word either. Is
Yeah.
that their call to action to give us the word?
I don't know. I'm sure.
You know how I told Judy go long? I let you handle the heavy lifting of the mental health stuff,
Yeah.
and she said, "Why is that? What are you asking me for?" And is it because I don't like to look backwards?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't know specifically what you were asking me to handle, so I don't know how it's doing.
At that moment, I asked you to handle a segue from one topic to the other, where we were shifting gears into the mental health part of the conversation, and
Yeah.
you're so good at you have the right words and the right vocabulary to do that. But then, yeah, she kind of put me on the hot seat and
I don't know.
made me think about that for a second. Maybe that's why, and to keep it with this topic, maybe that's why, because I don't enjoy looking back.
Mm.
I don't like reading history. I move forward.
Yeah, well, I think that there's a part of that that's really healthy, right? Because we can't get stuck in the past either. Because there are people who live in the past. whether that is because of trauma or it's because they had what they would call the glory days, and they wish they could go back to it. And I think it's important to be moving forward and to regularly feel like we have free will to like change our lives at any point, right? If things aren't going well, if we're not seeing fruit out of our actions, like I keep saying seeing fruit because I'm thinking about gardening. Like if you had a bad season, then you do reflect and you go through your, what did I do? Why did we only produce this much? Right. And it's, I think, same thing of like, what fruit was born from this? And the fruit doesn't have to be money or success or numbers of any kind. It could be joy or peace, or, you know, it could be any of those things. But we have the ability to change our lives and see what happens and do things that bear healthy fruit.
Know what else can be fruit? The friends that we make.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it really can. And especially when you're trying to corral a bunch of cats together into an online community. when your whole thing about your online community is to not be online and get out of the bubble. And but we've amassed a major group of friends in the last year.
That is a great transition.
Thank you. That's what I do for a living. I'm a podcaster. Could I tell you about the first 15 people who have
that we're
going to talk about?
Yeah.
Tell me if you remember any of these people. Misty Lee Butler. Does that
yes.
sound familiar to you? Corbly. We know Corbly.
Yes, and when our webinar comes up, you all will know Corbly.
David Corbly. We literally couldn't do it without him.
And he'll be a guest on a future episode as well.
Perhaps you've heard of Danny Martinick.
Yes, one of the first people we met when we got out of our bubble.
Why did I just take my glasses off?
Because you're going to mention Ashley Hargrove.
You won't recognize me because I've taken my glasses off. Exactly. Becky, who was in our masterclass, and she was in our masterclass in Oklahoma City. And then she came all the way to Nashville and saw us at Southern Festival of Books.
Well, she's from Nashville, but yeah.
Bethany, do you know her?
I'm not sure. My sister Bethany, the poet?
Yeah, the poet, Bethany Hale. And, well, you know what? There is another Bethany, Bethany Smith, who anytime you get bad news goes, great, God's got something better in store for you.
Yes.
So that's the Bethany Smith principle. Then we have Anna.
Yes, Anna, who responded to several of our calls to action.
Then we have Janice.
Janice, our call to action hero.
Then we have Baggy.
Oh my goodness, Baggy. You will only know that if you listen to our earlier episodes.
Then we have Rachel Caldecott.
Yes.
The creator of Blown Out of Proportion, her memoir about moving to France with a glass-blowing husband, and this right here, this beautiful coloring book.
Yes.
About her town in France. We have Deborah Hodgett. We are praying for her that she gets better.
Yes.
So join us if you're a praying type to pray for her health. We have David from your writing group.
Yes. Who responded to many of our YouTube videos.
We have Turner and Josh.
Yes, who were featured in mine and my husband's solar eclipse video.
Oh, that's who those are.
Yes.
I didn't know their names. There's one tall person and one short person. We have Bugs and Homa.
Yes, who sent us a eclipse video and did the voice of Bugs and Homer.
Yes, and he's really Clint Ford. And then Lisa Clemens, who gave us like this stop motion eclipse thing from upstate New York, which was amazing. How about that? That's 15 memories right there.
Amazing.
Those are good people.
They are, and we're so grateful for all of you for your support and participation and just being our friends.
You become like the 5 closest people you hang out with.
It's
So are
true.
we going to become like them, or are they going to become like us?
It's a good question.
I wonder.
Speaking of people, I mean, I think too, I think back on who were the people in my corner this year. You know, who are the people who I need to send a text and just say, hey, thanks for being, a good friend this year.
You look like you're getting choked up.
I'm more just getting back pain.
Way to ruin the moment.
Oh, and can I talk too about patience? Because
I don't like that topic.
I don't like, I mean, nobody wants to have to be patient, but like,
Don't ever pray for patience, people.
yes.
Because, oh my goodness. You'll get some.
But like, as I mentioned back pain, and the thing is, like, I'm in kind of a little bit of pain right now, but I am so grateful to be where I am, because trying to have a baby, it takes a lot of patience and trust and a lot of things that are outside of your control too. And so just grateful to be where I am now and looking ahead, thinking about how my future is about to change drastically.
How old does a baby have to be before you tell her? I know you don't want me to call her or her. Until you tell the baby, do you know the pain that you put me through? I was on this podcast, and
You
how
owe
long?
me.
Yeah.
No.
How long
Hopefully
until?
never. Hopefully never. I mean, I can tell them that to be honest, but I don't want to be the parent that holds that over them. Like,
Well, that's good.
I gave birth to you. I brought you to this world, and I can take you out of it. So I think,
That doesn't seem like you.
nah.
Next,
Okay, we've got so many friends.
in a year, these are like maybe a handful that I knew before, and a handful you knew before.
Oh
These
yeah,
are
a
all new
handful.
people.
Yeah. So Daphne Ekman and Blake Roos.
Yeah, man, Blake Rouse.
Rouse.
Oh my gosh, they were in a coffee shop and they made us a video and they mentioned our
So
name.
sweet.
And then when she came to Nashville, I didn't go see her, and I will
Oh.
next time. I will next time.
Yeah.
And especially after the episode with your dad, that this is important to
Yeah.
support indie artists. And
Yeah.
I'll go next time, Daphne.
We should have a whole episode about how to support indie artists.
Okay.
Yeah, write it down.
June 3rd. Is that the day you're coming back?
I don't know. I don't remember. Allison Ripley? Cubit?
Yes.
Allison Cubit Ripley?
Yeah, where's her book? We've shown her book on this podcast before.
Allison Rayner.
Oh, hi, Allison. Allison is the super contributor on Into the Scripts.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my vice president once.
Yes. I have one that says Allie, friend in the coloring book picture.
Oh, my friend Allie that used to own the bakery that had
That's right. Yes.
the Hey John Meyers cupcakes.
Yes.
Yes. Hey, Allie, you need to open another bakery.
Okay.
I'm looking
We
ahead.
have Emily, who was on our webinar.
Yeah, and she's done a lot of chiming in on Facebook and on Insta, talking to some of the guests and stuff.
We also want to thank Lori Twitchell.
Yes, who's starting a podcast in February or March. I forget which one.
Awesome. Sierra, who ran into us at SoFest of Books and also was on our webinar.
Oh, I remember her.
Kaylee Hines, who is one of my good friends who helped us with our book cover.
I remember her.
David Halchester.
Oh, I remember him.
Wait, we already named him, though.
Well, he's a friend.
He's a friend.
He's on the back of our book.
Yeah.
He's a book
You're
blurber.
right. Yes. David Bell, speaking of people who are on our back cover, and Lynetta Smith, speaking of people who are on our back cover.
If Stephanie L. Jones has what's his face, Dave Ramsey. If we would have had Dave Ramsey, we could have had David Helchester, David Bell, and Dave We could have had 3 days.
I know.
No offense to Lynette, but
We also we want to thank our troll Ant.
yes, Ant. And crush him like a little bug. Remember Ant?
Oh man, we genuinely want to thank my Ticia,
Yes.
who I've seen now at 2 different conferences.
When you see when she sees you, she it's like she sees Santa Claus. She just like her whole face brightens up, and she's just like, "I'm so glad to see you."
She is
And
so
like
sweet.
she's just so super positive and wonderful.
I love her. And Martha Rogus.
Oh, I wonder where I've heard that name earlier today.
Yeah. And Jack Handy, you're still our friend.
He's still our friend. Even though, speaking of looking back, we have some fuzzy memories of his appearance on our show because he wasn't on our show. That's all I have to say about that. Man, we're not even anywhere near this list. We are very grateful for these people.
We've got more, but we'll take a break. So, final reflections on the year. Anything you wanted to add?
I want to add, even though I said it already, that each thing that we did, I think we listened to Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Because, and this can't always happen, but maybe it could always happen. Everything we touched worked.
and that's what I mean by look for the fruit. Look for the fruit.
Yeah.
And we look at fruit maybe differently than how some people might look at it, but we're still looking at fruit.
Yeah, 100%. And there are things that I said, hey, let's do this. And Emily's like, nah, let's not. And there's things where we both came up with an idea and then like, nah, that's not going to work because of this reason. And so I think, I don't know what the takeaway is to that other than realize that even if you're a non-believer, just like you can pay attention to the universe and just the way things are going in your life, whether or not it's gonna work. Something's gonna, like, there are times when we know something's gonna work, and that's from, like, I knew Judy Goang was gonna work, even though we didn't hear from her for a while, because there was an email mishap. But I knew that it was, and it did, and it worked better than we could have ever imagined.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know what my takeaway is. Get out of the way and let God do his thing.
That is very connected to Judy's advice as well, because I reflected on the end of her episode that there's just a peace with her in that mindset of just rest in where God is leading you, and don't be too stressed about about the past and how things did or didn't work out. Just you just move forward and you keep thinking, you keep anticipating. I mean that so we're currently in the season of Advent, right? We're in the season of, we're anticipating God to show up, and really we're in that all the time. It's
true.
Right? It's the already but not yet time. Like, we are constantly anticipating where's God gonna show up in the next 7 seconds, in the next 7 days.
Yeah. I like, you're saying everything perfectly. That's, yeah. You ate it and left no crumbs. That's all that's a perfect way to put it. I have nothing. I got nothing else to say. That's perfect.
Wonderful. So what's our call to action going to be?
Well, they have to do the word thing.
Yes, they have to do the word. So your word of the year.
I think they should have some gratitude job. I shouldn't call them they. They're us. I think we should have some gratitude job.
I like reflect on this past year and like
I don't want to think about the past. No, I'm kidding.
that's what we just did.
told you I don't like thinking about the past. No, I'm kidding. They could send us cookies. No, I'm kidding.
Reflect on the past week
The past 7 seconds.
and what you're grateful for that's going on in your life right now.
Yes.
And I want to say,
what?
Oh, can I add something to that?
Yes, and then I'm going to add something.
I think I have the belief that there's always something to be grateful for.
Yes.
In the book The Hiding Place, Corrie ten Boom, who was in a concentration camp in Germany, writes that in the rooms that they were surrounded by fleas. There were just like fleas all in their beds and everything. And it was so miserable. But she and her sister decided that when they would go to bed at night, they would show gratitude to God for anything and everything. We're grateful for the fleas. And then, now this isn't always going to be what happens, right? But what came from that is they found out that the reason why they were able to read their Bibles in secret at night was or whenever they needed to, was because the guards wouldn't go into the room because of the fleas.
Oh.
And so even though it was like this horrible thing, they were able to recognize these fleas are actually serving us. And so I think there's always something to be grateful for.
Chapter 42, be grateful for the fleas. No, that's not really. Now, I did
we'll put that book in our show notes because I think that's a great way to start the year.
Look what I just randomly opened it to. Holy Spirit gave us, I'm grateful for small miracles.
There you go.
That's awesome.
I love that. So, before we have our next segment, we're going to show a little more gratitude.
Oh, cool.
So, we have John Wesley Harding.
Yes. Who is also Wesley Stace. So, back in the day, he was John Wesley Harding, indie rocker. I shared his Starbucks song on Song Saturday, and he commented on it and liked it. And now he's a novelist named Wesley Stace.
Oh, awesome.
But Wesley is obviously the same thing, right? But and when he performs now, like he comes to Nashville a lot. When he performs now, he's Wesley Stace as John Wesley Harding. And so I'll make sure that he sees us talking about how wonderful that he is.
Also, we have the Stevens family who bought the Irish sweaters.
Mo and Kayla.
Yes, thank you. We have Nikki Roof.
She is a fromagère. She is our cheese expert. Cheesemonger.
Who taught us about Gouda cheese.
Yes.
Michael Jamin, the great teacher, screenwriter.
Here's Allison's book I couldn't find earlier. Where is Jamin's book? I'm rereading part of Jamin's book. It might be over on my nightstand.
We've talked about him and his books a lot.
And Paper Orchestra.
And he's commented on some of our stuff too. So
correct. He's interacted, and I am now in one of his private groups.
Excellent.
And he is super supportive and helpful.
Yeah.
And he's a wonderful man.
He's got great videos.
Yes.
Lobster, who was a YouTube commenter, I believe. And then Jamie E. Pritchard, who is also a YouTube commenter.
Yep.
So we're very grateful for anybody who interacts with us on YouTube.
Correct.
Barry Friedman.
Oh, tell us about Barry Friedman handing you his wisdom in that picture from WriterCon.
We've talked about it before, but we got to do not a workshop, but like a session with Barry at WriterCon.
Yes, and I got to speak about my father and his father session about fathers, which is rare for me. And I got to tell my brother that story about it. I hadn't told him that story, and I had a nice moment of closure with my father. And my brother didn't know the story that I told.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
We also want to thank Frank Ball. Wonderful theologian and writer, right?
Storytelling at its best. A great book.
There you go. William Bernhardt,
Oh.
who's given us many wonderful opportunities that I just couldn't have imagined. So I'm so grateful.
He's a wonderful man. And is Katie on this list? His daughter?
We have not like on right now, but probably at some point.
Cool. She should be.
Let's go ahead and just shout out Katie Bernhardt.
Yes. And they're the whole family. They're so creative and talented.
The whole
His
family.
son, his wife, just everybody.
Yeah. Jesse Ulrich, the producer.
Yes. He
writer
knows how to do everything.
Yeah. Sheila Gunlock.
Oh, I heard she's a clown.
Yes. So while we're mentioning people from WriterCon, so I've got a list of people who are in our workshop. That also includes Dr. Nick, Joy, Catherine, Pat, and Tom.
And we expect all of them to have podcasts.
Yes.
By the time your baby, by the time your baby comes out, then their podcast.
It'll be exactly 9 months since we talked to them about it. So I have 9 months to make a baby. You have 9 months to make a podcast.
Yeah, that seems about right.
And then Lauren, who we met at the film festival, the Southern Film Festival, who made us our cow.
This Lauren?
Yeah, our cow mascot. All right. We still have more to go, but we'll take a break for Hey, Jon Meyers.
Yes? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. When was the first time?
January 1st.
That Baby New Year was used to celebrate the new year.
Charles Dickens.
Based on previous episodes, I understand. So we had another episode, though, where we talked about how, we ended up with the calendar that we have now, and how it was Julius Caesar who was like, January 1st is the new year, and it used to be in March, which honestly, to me, I'm not saying we should change anything, but I love the idea of the new year being in March, because it's like the end of winter, and then the spring equinox. It makes sense to me, but it's fine, Julius. So that was when New Year's started to be celebrated on January 1st.
And that's not even it's not even like the winter equinox.
I know, it's like
nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Okay.
And then, so are you familiar with Baby New Year? Because I'm going to be honest, I was not until...
Yeah, I know Baby New Year, and I'm going to guess the first appearance was in a comic strip.
Oh, that's a really good answer. But it is very, very wrong.
Okay.
It is partially right. And I'll tell you why it's partially right. It was actually... the first time a baby was used in a New Year celebration was actually in ancient Greece. Because, we were talking about Julius Caesar, right?
How is ancient Greece and a comic strip almost equally, almost partially right?
I will explain it as soon as I find... Okay, so it says the Greeks ushered in the New Year with celebrations of honoring Dionysus, the son of Zeus, and god of wine. And so they would hoist a child skyward to represent the rebirth of Dionysus. So that was when the New Year baby thing kind of started. But you are correct that eventually it became more part of our current culture. Started more with a comic strip by I have a huge page of stuff, so I'm having to find everything.
I think your initial wrong was wrong. I think this is better than partially correct. This is correct.
So Joseph Christian Leyendecker drew the first holiday illustration of a toddler, and then it started becoming on magazine covers in 1906 when he started drawing these. And then he would experiment with it, Baby New Year would be a little cherub, and then the next year, because of the war, it would be a soldier, or it would be a woman suffragette a suffrage activist, and so it was like kind of depending on the time. And then eventually it became the baby with the top hat, and
Right.
in 1936.
And a sash.
Yeah.
They have to have a sash with the year on it.
Yeah. So it adapted, and then it also this site is also saying, so it started with the Dionysius baby, and then in Germany about 500 years ago, it was that they used a depiction of baby Jesus, and so it was baby Jesus ushering in the new year, but then it became more secularized later on. So all of those, it's an interesting cultural thing because it's happening in Greece, it's happening in Germany, it's moving here, and then now it's just. I'm gonna be honest. In like my family, like I didn't even know the Baby New Year was a thing. I was never told about Baby New Year. I never experienced it in pop culture.
Good thing you learned. Good thing this podcast exists. You would have never learned about it. And then when your baby pops out, you wouldn't hoist it above your head like tradition with Baby New Year.
Well,
You can
and
just
Baby
call
New
your baby.
Year in Germany, they try to find who was the first baby born in the new year, and then they would call them Baby New Year in German.
They do that here too. And then it'll be on the news and who it was, and they were born in January 1st at 12:01.
I heard it's harder for them to find now though because they're being more private with the families.
Oh, I don't.
So it's harder to know like who was really the first baby born.
I believe we have less privacy now because of the internet, not more privacy.
Yeah, I mean that's true. But the nurses and the doctors specifically are like trying to keep the privacy. They're openly sharing those records and stuff. So who knows?
Well, that makes sense.
And then Baby New Year is, of course, alongside Father Time, and is often battling Father Time. I've heard. I've also heard that Baby New Year can become Father Time over the year. Again, this is all new to me. Like I don't know how I've like lived in my whole life.
Did you read comic strips when you were a baby? I mean, well, not when you were a baby, but when you were a little kid.
No.
Did you watch the internet when you were a little baby?
We didn't have. I mean, I recall getting newspapers that had comic strips on it, but like reading some of them. But I read like Garfield and Peanuts.
Baby New Year never came to Garfield.
Never experienced Baby New Year ever.
So when I was a kid, Jon, John was unusual, but Garfield's John is Jon, and so that normalized.
Oh, interesting.
Jon, and then your husband is also Jon. Mm-hmm. Was he named after the Garfield owner?
No, and in fact, I don't think I've ever asked you this. If your full name, like on your birth certificate, is Jonathan.
It is not. It's just John.
Okay, because my John, in his family, he is Jonathan.
Oh.
And then he shortened it to John in college.
My family was poor, and we couldn't afford all those extra letters.
Awesome.
Sure, laugh at poverty on the new year. Cool.
So, yeah.
That's sad. You grew up without Baby New Year.
I know. I really missed out.
But now you've rectified it, though, for your baby.
Yeah. You know what I love? That a tradition that, this is so random, but some people I know. So you know how Epiphany, the wise men don't actually show up until Epiphany.
Correct.
And so they wouldn't put the wise men on their nativity until Epiphany. But they would have them on I don't remember if it was a blimp or a kite or some kind of flying machinery from the ceiling down a string that it would get closer and closer to the nativity every day.
Who did this?
One of my professors and his kids.
Oh.
So
3 wise guys came on a blimp?
And I don't think it was a blimp. It was like a parachute or something, but
a drone.
Or a hot air balloon. Like I don't know what it was, but they would just get closer and closer.
That's what the mystery drones are. It's actually the 3 wise men.
Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness.
All right, we have more gratitude. Oh my goodness, there's just so much gratitude.
My turn.
It is your turn.
We are grateful for these next cluster of people. Lauren, who wrote the children's book. If only I had it to hold up.
Oh.
We'll put the picture in. I have it, and obviously because I've held it up before. Oh, and her and her mom have been super active
Mm-hmm.
on the Instagram lately.
And we've run into them twice in person.
Yes, we have, and they remembered us.
Mm-hmm.
They're part of our tribe now. Amelia, Jenna, and Amy Lane.
Mm-hmm.
We saw them at Southern Festival of Books.
Mm-hmm.
Alec Collins. He still comments. He's a very frequent commenter on the YouTube.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And then Misty, he and Misty correspond.
Oh, nice.
Melanie in Cincinnati pushed her sister down the stairs. No,
Yeah.
that did not really happen. Susan Grigsby, who told me I would never amount to anything when I was 5 years old. How could we forget her? Dr. Dasgupta, who we need to put on.
Yeah.
I need to add her. I need to write her down. We got to get her back on onto the schedule. Hopefully. Afraid that we won't mention him on the episode. Look who's calling right now.
Is it who I think it is?
Bob Saenz is on my phone right there. Hi, Bob. We did already mention you. Michelle Peterson, Caitlin Porter, Rendy Greshner, Max and Thomas Griffin, June Anderson, and Amanda from Pen and Podium, and Kirsten Modglin, who I've talked to a couple times now, who will be a guest
Wonderful.
when the new year starts.
So exciting. We have some really, really good guests planned ahead.
We do.
So if you want to... There you go. Yeah. If you want to hear from those guests, we've got quite the list planned for this next year. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening. And we've already expressed our gratitude for you. And I think, you know what? I'm not going to ask for anything because today is a day of gratitude. We just want to say thank you for listening.
What now?
Oh, that means that it's time for...
Yes?
The final act.
Oh, I know what it is. Before I tell you what you're playing, Emily, I am going to show you what you will be playing for. You'll be playing for a wide assortment of everything, every prize you previously won and I haven't sent to you yet.
Oh my goodness.
So, the ones I could find. I couldn't find some of them. You'll be playing for this small palette. Do you remember that?
Oh yes, the very cute.
You'll be playing for Hello Kitty.
With the cheese foam.
Yep, cheese foam Hello Kitty. You will be playing for this other cow.
Yes.
From the Five Oaks Lodge for when we stayed in Sevierville. You will be playing for, Mary Davis Stellas.
Yes.
Welcome. There's someone that we're grateful for right there.
For sure.
For her WriterCon friendship bracelet. You'll be playing for, speaking of Bob Saenz, 2 of his books, the Jessica's Vampire Diary and That's Not the Way It Works. Don't tell anybody if you already have those because you're winning them again. You will have the cow from the cheese foam or from the where what's her face where Nikki Roof works. And then this bear has appeared on several episodes. And last but not least, you knew this was coming. The 1 week baby.
Yeah.
I can't believe your baby has not come out yet.
Oh, it would be very early for that to be happening.
It says 1 week.
Oh, right.
It says right here, 1 week. And this thing.
Oh, yes, the octopus glass that I can't never remember what it's called.
Highball glass.
Thank you.
All right, today you will be playing a game called Act Like You Don't Care.
Oh, okay.
In this, remember this ball thing We're bringing back all the memories. I took out some. There's only 3 balls in here. I will randomly, I will swirl the barrel. I will pull out number 1 through 3. And in these 3 envelopes are 3 different scenarios involving the new year. And all you have to do to win all those fabulous prizes is act out that scenario for 1 minute. If you do it in an accent, if you act out the scenario in an accent, you can win Baggy, who I don't know where Baggy's eyeballs are. So Baggy has made a new reappearance, but Baggy has no eyeballs. But Baggy's already dead. So, all right. There's no way. I'm not cheating. You just have to trust me. And I don't know what's in each envelope anyway. You got number 3. So, in this envelope is a scenario related to the new year. You have to act like you don't care, but still help the person because you're a very caring, compassionate person. So that would have been too easy if I made it called act like you care, because you always care. So you have to act like you don't care, but you still have to help the person in the scenario.
Okay.
As if you didn't. I'm making you exercise your muscles.
Okay.
Your acting muscles. All right, here we go. Your drunk friend asks you for a ride home. Act like you don't care, but you still got to get them home. And you have to do it. You have to talk for the entire minute to win all of those prizes. And then if you do it in an accent, you win Dead Baggy. All right. So I got to set a timer?
Yeah. My accent might change throughout the...
Ooh, then you get bonus points. And action.
All right, Melissa, I know you got...
Melissa?
I know you're not feeling well, so let's go in the car. And... Oh, I'll turn up the AC for you. I know you're not... That's... Oh, if you need to throw up, you just... Whatever. That's just... I may have just bought this car, but it can handle it, I guess. Oh, okay, there. I'll just grab some paper towels that are on the back seat there, and I've got some Kroger bags. Here you go. Do I need to stop anywhere for you? How are you doing? Are you feeling any better?
20 seconds.
Okay, we're at your house. Are you ready to go? Oh, okay. I guess I'll have to carry you. So get
5 seconds.
Get out of the car. Get the person that on my shoulder and whatever is dripping down my shirt. I don't care. Oh, the door is locked. We're locked out. Oh, you left your keys? Okay, I guess we'll go back and we'll get your keys. That's fine. I've got all night.
Yay! You did it. You won all the prizes, and I'm not going to hold up again. Good job. Despite the acting, like, who knew? And I was tempted to make you eat something, but you said no eating as one of the first rules. So I'm only saying that so I could call back to the first episode.
You know what's funny is I have a phobia of throwing up, but I just kept throwing it in there because I didn't care.
So that's the thing you didn't care about, your vomit phobia.
Yeah, I decided that I wouldn't care that they were throwing up in my car. And then they forgot their keys at the bar.
That was wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
So, the last callback before we get to the last group of names is we had 2 cups this year, Ruby's Hot Dogs and the original Slim Chickens. And I have fond memories of both of them.
Oh, have we given a shout out to Drip Confections? Because we should.
Oh, we have not. Yes, we should.
Yes. Thank you, Drip Confections.
And we need to make sure we put their thing in the show notes. For sure. Their link. And plug Bookshop.
Bookshop. We are grateful for Bookshop. If you didn't know, we have a bookstore on Bookshop /Write It Better Together or something like that. We'll put it in the show notes. But we have all of any book we've mentioned on the podcast, guests' books, and then if we don't have it on our bookshop, then we've also shared links to those on our Amazon. We actually need to create an Amazon store that has all those books in it. But anyway, so you can go to our bookshop and find pretty much lots of our guest books and books we love, books that we have on our bookshelves, etc. So go check it out.
Yay, that's a great idea. Just before we get to those last names, I was going to tell you the two you didn't pick. I should have done that earlier.
Yes, but... I do. I am curious.
But so the envelope number 1 was you're at the New Year's Eve party and someone brought you know how people eat shrimp for New Year's? It sat out in the sun, and so it was like tainted shrimp that sat out in the sun too long.
Oh, that's like my worst nightmare.
Well, there you go. You didn't pick that one.
I just said that I have a phobia of throwing up.
You would have had to act like you didn't care that it was rancid shrimp.
Yeah.
And then the other one was, this is the new one that I created during the episode. I threw out the other one because it wasn't as good as this one. Tell Baby New Year that he's fired. As the mascot for New Year's.
No. How did you come up with this game?
I don't know.
I like it. It's fun.
Because I was trying to recap the new year.
Yeah.
And you're the caring and compassionate one, so I wanted to see you act like you didn't care.
I like how you say that as if you're not also caring and compassionate.
In my brain, I'm cold and distant.
Oh, wow.
But I cry more than you do. All right, cool.
All right.
We got a last handful of names.
Yep. You want to finish off the list?
Aaron Covington. Oh, we learned from him.
Mm-hmm.
Connections matter. Dr. Rachel Barr, my nemesis. Who's a bigger nemesis, her or Susan Grigsby?
Man, good question.
Neurophysicist. William Paul Young, what would you like to say about him?
Oh, man. I hope we get to talk to him one day. Just a wonderful speaker and inspired me a lot.
We should have Jack Handy.
We talk more about it in our Writer Fest episode.
We should have Jack Handy call him and invite him.
Sure.
Randa Newman and Corby Lenker, two filmmakers. Mimi McCarley.
Yes, Mimi, also very inspiring speaker at Writer Fest.
David L. Hancock.
Mm-hmm.
The Lundra Alliance. They did a call to action, or they did a response.
Yes.
They did a response. And Margie Saenz. Your husband's been calling Margie. I didn't want to feel her left out. And then I thought of one more before. I got three more, but then I thought of one more. The guy who had the countdown to his name because he wanted to be mentioned on the episode.
My brother-in-law, David.
Your brother-in-law. Well, shout out his name.
Shout out to David Hale.
Then we got to put a countdown to his name again. Yeah. And then Cindy Begel, who is in our book.
Yes,
of Sarah course. Jackson from Sarah Jackson Coaching, who is in our book. And then last but not least, I didn't know if that they were that you could hear them, but I put Kaiju on the list.
Yes, I don't know if listeners have been hearing Kaiju, George, and Sierra cooing the whole episode. Also, thank you, Brandon Sanderson, because Journey Before Destination came from Brandon Sanderson, and I say it like every day.
And Winnie.
And Winnie.
And I think if we forgot you all, I'm sorry, but there's one thing you should know. Yeah. Even if we forgot you, there's one thing you should know.
Wait! I need to do something first.
Are you going to give birth?
I know.
Well, we're not going to show you giving birth.
I know what you're about to say.
Yes.
And it's the perfect segue, so I hate to ruin it. But I played bingo this time.
Dude. Oh, man. I started because I had on my big long drive. Oh, man.
But I lost.
Oh, I thought you... I didn't know you could lose.
Well, I didn't get 4 in a row.
Oh.
But can I show you what I did?
Yeah, so on the drive, I was like, was the last chance for this year to do it.
I know.
And so I started my little card, and then I didn't bring it when I went to do this when we sat down to record.
Okay.
Right.
So I actually think you may have said some of these, but I missed it. Like I wasn't 100% sure if you said it. So here's what I wrote down. I'll just say them and then I'll say which ones you did. So on the left side is Emily is 2 months older than me. You didn't say that.
Oh man, I didn't say that.
However, the next one you did do. You pointed to where something will go on the screen.
Yes. Yep.
You didn't,
That's good.
You didn't mention Kelly Clarkson.
What's wrong with me? Kelly Clarkson, Kelly Clarkson, Kelly Clarkson. She's going to appear now. Just like Beetlejuice.
I almost put Jack Handy on there, but I didn't because I figured we'd give him a shout out and that felt like cheating.
Oh.
The phrase "in a previous episode," which I said, but I don't think you ever said.
I think I did.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll say that you. I still didn't win.
Okay.
You did scan your bookshelf for books multiple times.
Multiple times.
I don't think you said on the YouTube this time.
I said on the internet. I said I was watching the internet.
Which, if you look all the way to the right, that is one that I put down. I was watching the internet.
Like you know me.
You didn't mention Iki.
Oh man, I left Iki. I mentioned Maggie and not Iki.
I can't remember if you said #StupidWalk before we recorded or after. I think you said it before we recorded, and I was like, man,
yeah, I didn't say it on the show.
You didn't talk about how my baby would be our future producer.
I should have.
You did mention cheese.
Yeah, yes, I did. It's so predictable.
We talked about Bob Saenz a lot, but I specifically was looking for you to say celebrity screenwriter Bob Saenz.
And I didn't say that when he called?
I don't think you did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You didn't say everything is connected.
I didn't.
You mentioned Winnie, but you didn't ask Winnie a question, and that's what I wrote down. Was that you would go, "Hey, Winnie."
This is such a fun show.
You didn't say we don't gamble / no gambling.
Oh my, these are really good.
You didn't, thank you. You didn't mention your undisclosed location.
No.
You did pull up the 1 week baby.
Yes, and I said I was watching the internet as we established.
I don't think you said there you go, but I did.
I think we both said there you go.
Okay, I'll say that we did. You didn't say this is the #1 podcast for birds.
No, and I was going to say that this was the #1 podcast for something earlier, and I forgot to say it.
And then you didn't have a mailbox story.
Nope, I didn't have a mailbox story.
So I got 5, potentially 6 or 7. But no, I didn't get a full line, so...
And so one of the things on my card that I didn't even finish writing the 16 things.
Yeah, it's
but one
a lot.
of the ones huh?
It was a lot to think of.
Yeah. One of the ones that I thought of, and I was watching the internet on it, and then, are we still playing? I shouldn't tell you.
Oh, no, you're fine. Well,
okay.
Do you want to do the bingo in the future? Because if you want to still do it in a future episode, then you should do it.
Yeah,
Because you could beat me, because I lost.
Well, but if I lose too, then the score will matter?
I'm still curious what you would write down, though.
But the score will matter, right?
I mean, maybe we could say, like, okay, if I got 6, then let's see how many you get next time.
Okay.
That's
what I'm saying. So if I don't get a bingo, then I got to beat 6.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Let's do that.
Yeah, so I'm not going to tell. So you get a freebie because I was watching the internet on it, and but I won't tell you. There's a couple on there.
But you can't put things that you know you're going to do because then you're giving yourself free bingos. I did only things that you had to do.
Oh, yeah, I was going to try to win.
I mean, I guess I never clarified that. So if you want to do that, like I could have done that strategy and kept like I said in a previous episode, and
so
there
these
you
are
go.
Things that have to come out of your mouth.
I was thinking that because then you have no control over it.
Let me write that down.
But maybe I'm just really bad at strategy, and I should have done that all along.
Or maybe you changed the rules in the middle of a game.
I think I thought that I made it clear that those were the rules, but I probably never actually said it out loud.
Okay. Well, all right.
All right, back to that wonderful segue.
That's not even on that card. I thought it was going to be on that card.
What would be? Oh, but that felt like cheating to me too, because we say that every time. Like if I put "Hey Jon Meyers" in there,
I like.
I don't know. I made it hard for myself for some reason.
Yeah, I like that everything that I was going to put on the card, you're calling cheating. You made it harder for yourself. I was going to make it easy for myself.
Okay, you should just put down what you think will make you win, because I apparently just made it hard for myself.
That's too funny. All right. I don't know if I can say it without crying.
Oh.
Okay.
We couldn't have done it without you. Hi, everyone. Before we let you go, we have a special video from Misty L. Butler, previous guest and Write Better Together influencer. And we hope that you all respond to her questions. And you can find the rest of her videos at Studio of Misty L. Butler on YouTube.
Hi, it's Misty with Write Better Together, and I've got a question for you. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the name of the month, January? Some people love January because it signifies newness to them, new opportunities, new goals, new adventures. And some people are not so fond of it because they look back over a year with a lot of disappointments, goals that didn't work out, and just things that they wish they were further along with. So if you fall in that latter category, I want to challenge you to look at the last year and think of two things, one personal and one regarding writing or another creative project you've had, two things that you can say are good. I deal with a lot of long-term health problems that are not getting any better, and I don't seem to be getting any closer to answers. So of course I end the year with that disappointment, but I also got connected to some really good doctors this year, so that is one positive. I did end the year with a book close to completion. Now, I'm not sure what to do with this book. I'm kind of at a standstill. I was planning to release it early in 2025. I'm not real good at internet sales. I haven't learned that yet. And since I don't have a famous name, I also have a hard time getting into groups and places where I want to speak and do book readings and share about my book. So I'm kind of stuck on if I want to go forward or not and release this book. So while there are disappointments connected to those, there are also a couple of good things. And I would like you all to drop in the comments below a couple of good things you can look back over the past year and say, hey, that was good. Maybe it's not perfect, but that was good. So I'm going to be reading below to see what kind of things you can share with me, and wishing you all the best in 2025.
Thank you so much for that, Misty. And if you are listening on Spotify or any other podcast app, you can head over to YouTube and respond there in those comments. And we look forward to hearing from you all. Hope you all have a wonderful new year.